Hello, I'm Sandy Gervais. I'm a designer for Riley Blake Designs, and the name of my pattern company is Pieces from My Heart. I have been in the design business for quite some time. I started a greeting card business in 1989. In 92, I started my Pieces from My Heart pattern company, and in 94, I started designing fabric. And I am still designing fabric and patterns, however, I'm not doing the greeting cards anymore. And today we will be demonstrating how to make this Frosty the Snowman wall quilt, which I made out of my new winter fabric called Arrival of Winter. And these are the materials that you will need to make this project. This project has 3 different sections, and we're going to start with the head section, which is really simple. What makes the head round are the connector squares. Some people call them flip and sew. I have pre-sewn 3 of them on, and I'll sew this 4th one on to make the head round. So now that I've sewn on all 4 squares, we're going to trim them. Some people do this differently. Some people only trim off this part, and some people trim off both. If I have a lighter base fabric, I always trim off both because sometimes then that will show through and make it look like it's a different color. So if I have a light background and a dark top, I always cut both of them off. Some people prefer to cut one off. However you want to do it, it's fine with me. Oops. Okay, and then I will press these open. I like to set my seams. It's up to you how you want to do it. So, as you can see, the little square now looks more like a snowman head. So that's easy peasy for the snowman head. But the snowman has to have a hat. And so I have used the triangle, and I used a tool to cut this, and they're available. I'm sure many of you have them in your stash. And I like the tool because it has this little edge here that you line up with the fabric, not even here, but here, so it comes out perfectly. I will sew on the first side of the background, making sure that is exactly where it needs to be. So I have sewn both of them on, and I press the first one because this you press as you go, so this is flat when you put the second one on. So I will press the second one now. So now the little hat is made. Cute little snowman hat. And then there's just spacers that go on each side of this hat. So you have this piece. And then the scarf consists of just sewing 3 pieces together to make the scarf. And the little snowman block has spacers on it too. And once you get the spacers on the snowman block, you sew those 3 together and you have completed your snowman head. And the little scarf ties we will do at a later time. So that is your little snowman head, pretty simple. And the next thing we will demonstrate is the quadrant. Each one of these snowflake blocks begins with a quadrant. So each block has 4 quadrants, and then it has 4 flying geese sections with the center square. So today we will, and there again, there are flip and sews or connector squares to make these points instead of half square triangles. And this block is put together basically like a log cabin block where you just keep going round and round. I have sewn the first 3 together, and now we will put this on it as if, like I said, just kind of like the method of a log cabin block. that's done. I'm going to go over and press it. Oops. And like I said, this is just like a log cabin, so we're going to do this piece and then we'll do this piece. Okay, and I went ahead and sewed on the next seam. We'll give that a press. I'm going to pick off my labels here. Okay. And then, again, like I said, like a log cabin, we will put this on the bottom of this, and then we will do this and this, just like a log cabin. Okay, so I went ahead and sewed the last two on. Give it another quick press. And we have one quadrant made. And so for each block, you will need 4 of these. And then the next thing we're going to make is the flying geese that go in between the quadrants. And everybody pretty much knows how to make flying geese. I use, there again, you can do it how you want to. I use the connector square method to make the flying geese. Stitch on the line, fold it over. And so you make, what did we say? 4 flying geese for each of the strips in between. And then you just sew the quadrants and the flying geese together to complete your block. And the larger block is the same, it's just bigger. So once you figured out the small one, the big one's easy. And then you sew your 3 blocks together, and there's a little border that goes around it. And then the piece border, I used a 5-inch stacker, and they are 5-inch squares. They're not cut at all, so you just take them out of the package and sew them together randomly, sew it on the quilt, and you're done. And then after you're done with that, you can either do this hand applique or you can do heat transfer method. And the little scarf ties, the pom-poms, and the hands are all the applique, and the eyes and the nose. Or if you want to, you can fancy it up a bit, which is what I did. Make it a little more dimensional. I just made a pom-pom for the hat and a pom-pom for the scarf. And then I did the little scarf ties. And these I just acted as if I were tying a quilt and just made several little stitches as if I were tying a quilt, and then I trimmed them afterwards. And I added the buttons for a little bit more dimension for the eyes instead of the applique, and then I didn't have to applique those little circles. So it's entirely up to you how you want to embellish it. I have seen people actually even put twigs on the arms for some more dimension. And that's our Frosty Snowman wall quilt. If you would like to know more about me or see more of my items, you can follow me on Instagram at Gervais Sandy, and my website for my patterns is piecesfrommyheart.net. I've enjoyed visiting with you today and hope to see you again soon.